What's up, guys? Brennen here, bringing you a new video. Finally doing something for Season 14 in Fiora. This is going to be an item tier list. We're going to go through all the items and put them on a tier list and see what's the best. So let's jump right into it. So we'll start with Terminus, 40 AD, 30 attack speed, I believe. It's got a little bit of resistances when you're auto-attacking. The thing is that it's an on-hit item, and on-hit items just don't really do anything for Fiora. So right off the bat, this is just a bad item. It's just a bad item. I have tried it too. I've tried it. It's not that great. Not that great. We have, whoa, Despair. This is the Despair item. This is the AP Sunfire Cape. Just no. You don't need it. It's not good. Profane Hydra is the next one. Now, the thing is with Profane Hydra, and we're going to look at all these, but these are lethality items, and lethality items have never, ever been good in Fiora's kit. There's never been a build path where you could go lethality besides when Prowler's Claw was a mythic and it had its active and it was super OP. That was like the only time. And even then, it was very niche and you didn't really build it that often. And it was just because Prowler's Claw was so broken. So we're going to put these lethality items. This is another one. This is another one. I can just go ahead and grab them, the lethality items, and they're just bad items. This item though, the Hubris here, there is something interesting about this item that I kind of like. It is the fact that it has stacking AD. So we don't care about lethality as Fiora, right? Overall AD is what's going to give you the true damage. You don't need to shred armor because you do true damage when you hit the vitals. So it gives you bonus AD for 90 seconds. This is the only reason I could see this item having any type of viability, and even then I still think it's bad because it's a lethality item. But if you were mid lane Fiora and you rushed Ravenous and you were like 5-0 and you were running top lane, you were running bot lane, you're fighting at grubs and dragon and everything like that, then maybe you could make some value out of the active. So I'm going to actually put this one here, and this is the only lethality item that would ever maybe be built, maybe. Now we got Sundered Sky. This is a really weird one because Sundered Sky, I want it to be great, but I just don't think it really comes off as great. I think it's a good item. I think it's Divine Sunder in reverse. Obviously you can't proc it with your Q or your E, but you can proc it with auto attacks. 6-second cooldown, much longer than 1.5. So it is a big step down from Divine Sunder. I think if you're fighting a lot, it's not the worst thing ever, but I just don't think so. And then we've got Experimental Hexplate. I think that this is also just overkill. I think this is going to go into the okay item slot. I don't really think it's good. The extra movement speed and attack speed when you ulti just seems really pointless because on Fiora you already get the increased movement speed, so it's just kind of overkill. I couldn't imagine a champion stopping you from hitting all 4 vitals when you're level 3 ulti and you're getting 50% bonus move speed. So that just goes here. Abyssal Mask, tank item. I mean, you might find some value out of like against a Teemo or something like that. I don't think it's worth. I think it's a no. Athemus Chains, we only get HP from that, and it's just, you know, Fiora is going to be able to duel anybody in the later stage of the game. This goes into the no. Lethality item, no. Now we're getting into some good stuff here. I like this. So we got Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver has really good stats. I like Black Cleaver's stats. I also like its passive, gives you the 20 move speed when you auto attack, which is similar to like Stridebreaker as well and Triforce. So you could technically get 3 of those unique passives. Get the 20 move speed every time you attack, which bounces off of your vital. When you hit a vital and you get the extra movement speed. So I kind of like it. I kind of like it, and I think it'd be good into certain matchups, like maybe like Malphite or something like that. But I don't think it's great, but I do think it's good. I do think Black Cleaver is an item that you can purchase. And basically the good, great, and god tier items, these are going to be the ones that we go for, right? Now, Bork is a weird one. It's just low AD. The passive is really nice because it's first auto now, but I do think that this is just a good item. Bloodthirster, I think it's too niche. It's just straight up, like the AD is great, especially if you're like level 18. That's awesome. You know what? Actually, you could probably get away with this as like a last item. I don't think I would ever do it, but I'm not going to say to not buy it. I could see it in niche situations. We'll put it in the okay items. I could see it. Kimpunk, this is, you know, this is always a weird one when it comes down to heal cut for Fiora. Single target champions like Fiora should never have to build heal cut. It should always be like AoE champions that build heal cut on your team. So this is a little bit of a weird one, but sometimes you have to, and it's not that bad. So it goes into the good item slot. And Dead Man's Plate, just not for us. It's a bad item. Not worth. Don't need it. And then we got Death Stance. Death Stance is a really good item. Obviously, in a full AD, it's just perfect for Fiora. It mitigates damage, it heals you on takedowns. This item is really good. The only issue here is it's not a must-have. You can get away with not building Death Stance in a game. I would say if left to right matters, this would be like really hovering, like really wanting to be god tier, basically. The god tier is going to be right here on our next item slot, Eclipse. 2800 gold, 70 AD flat, 15 ability haste. This item is perfect for Fiora. In the beginning of the season, I loved it, and then I tried out different builds, and then I didn't want to play Eclipse, and then I came back to Eclipse. Eclipse is just good. It's a must-have item. You should be building Eclipse. You should be building Eclipse, a great item. Edge of Night, lethality, no. This item is so, I'm actually was thinking about this the other day. I want to put this here. I want to put this in the okay items only because it has a Sheen active. And Sheen active is a little bit hard to come by. When we get to Triforce, we'll understand why, just because it's, you know, it's not that, Triforce is a little bit underwhelming. And this has a Sheen to it as well. So we'll put it in the okay items. We'll put it in the okay items. Force of Nature, tank item, not worth it. Frozen Heart, I'm not gonna lie to you. Frozen Heart is so cheap. It's 2,400 gold. It just got nerfed. It was 2,300 gold. Now it's 24. This is a good item. Into like full AD, like I built this against a Tryndamere. I built Bork and Frozen Heart. And this was an old build that I used to do, was Bork and a Frozen Heart when both the items were super OP. And Bork's a little bit weaker, but Frozen Heart is back to being super OP again. So I think it's a good item. I think if you're going against full AD, I think you could totally get Frozen Heart because it's so cheap. So we're gonna put that there. Let's see, GA. I usually don't like purchasing GA. It's just not really my style. When I think of GA, I think like if I'm gonna die, I'm probably gonna die anyways. But it's still a good Fiora item. Like it's still an item that Fiora can use really well. So we'll go ahead and put it in the great items. And then on hit, not our, you know, you just don't on hit. You don't go on hit on Fiora. Hullbreaker is another great item. Hullbreaker has really high AD, 65 AD, solid. I like it a lot. So we're gonna put it there. And obviously it's a little bit weaker than the season 13 version, but it's still pretty good. And then we've got our Iceborne Gauntlet. Now this item is another one that kind of fits into the same niche as Frozen Heart, where, you know, it can help you out. For slowing somebody, it's got the Sheen, it's got armor to it. Iceborne Gauntlet, so we got the armor, we got the health, we get a Sheen out of it. So I would actually probably move it into okay items, because if they were full AD, I think you would rather get Frozen Heart than get this. But the Sheen, it's once again, it's one of those okay items. We might even like change this to say like a niche items, actually. We might even do that. Shield Bow, once again, on hit item, don't really care for it. Jack Show, surprisingly, a very good item. Jack Show is not that bad, especially in the enemy that doesn't have a lot of burst damage. Jack Show is going to keep you alive, especially with the healing that you are going to have in your kit too. I actually would put this in good items. I wouldn't say it's great, because great and God tier are like, you know, I want to find a way to build these items every game. But good items are like, I could build this and it would be okay for this game. So if enemy doesn't have a lot of burst, I actually do like this item a lot. If they have a ton of burst, you have to get this item ramped up. I think you have to be in combat for like 4 or 5 seconds for it to actually go off. So if you're getting one shot, it just doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. Kraken Slayer on hit. We don't want that. We don't want this. We don't care about these items. These items just aren't really important for us. Now we've got Maul. Maul is a wonderful item, a great item, just like Death Stance. Obviously you get healing from both these items because you get lifesteal when you proc the Maul shield. The extra AD, you get all that. So these items are perfect. Really great items here, both Death Stance and Maul. QSS, I mean, it's an okay item. Like if you have to build it, you have to build it. Now we got Manamune. So Manamune is kind of, everybody always talks about Manamune and it drives me crazy. Like Manamune is just straight up a glass cannon. It's just completely glass cannon build. So it's really hard to use it and make it work. I do see value in it just because it's just straight up damage, but it's not even like high risk, high reward. It's like high risk, low reward. And that's why I don't like it. It's like there's so many better items than it, and I understand that some people have like mana issues and so forth, but if you run Presence of Mind or if you run like Inspiration with Biscuits, you just shouldn't have mana issues. I don't know. I'm gonna put it in niche items, but I don't think it has a lot of value, but I will put it there, but I don't think it's very good. We'll move on to Randuin's now. It's another one of those items that's kind of niche. Like it could work if they were full AD. Obviously I can't put it in good. The only reason, right, like I said, Frozen Art is here is because it's so cheap. So this is just another niche item here. We typically want to have AD, attack damage, in every single slot. Every single item slot we want to have attack damage for Fiora. Now we've got Ravenous next. Ravenous is a must-have. God tier must-have item. It's very incredible. Big AD, it's got lifesteal, it's got ability haste, the 3 things that Fiora loves the most. Oh, don't forget about the wave clear as well. So it's just a perfect item. So that is a god tier must have. When we look at like this tier here, you should be building these items every game. Like if you don't have one, you should have the other. If you're not going to build Eclipse, you need Ravenous. If you're not going to have Ravenous, you need to have Eclipse. You need to have one of these 2 items every single game. You have to have one of them. Serpents is like this is another thing. It's a lethality item for 1. Fiora is a single target champion, so she does damage to singular targets. So Serpents has basically no value. I would put it in the good items, but you know, sometimes you do 1v1 somebody and you need lifesteal. This one is so much different. This is just not worth buying for Fiora. It's not your job to get shield cut as a Fiora on the team, so just awkward. You just don't need it. Grudge is not great either. You don't need that. Spear of Shojin. Spear of Shojin has kind of thrown me for a loop because it doesn't stack with your E, so it only stacks with your Q and your W, which makes it a little weird. It gives you increased spell damage, so you get increased Q damage, and then there was an argument that it increases vital damage as well, because I guess vitals count as spells. Well, we actually tested it with 3 items, and the difference was 14 damage. 14 damage per vital when Shojin is fully stacked. I just can't see a way to make this item good. It's got worse stats than Cleaver. I mean, it's got the ability haste, but at what point does 15 ability haste like on your Q really matter when it's on a 2-second cooldown if you hit it anyways? I don't know. I have a lot of trouble seeing this item working out really well in season 14. I've tried it, didn't like it. Other people seem to like it, and personally, I don't think Spear of Shojin is worth it. I think there's better items. I mean, I'll put it in good items, but it's like way, if left to right mattered, this thing would be at the very bottom of the good items for me. I really think so. It just doesn't seem worth it. Spirit Visage, don't like it. I don't really care. I mean, it does increase healing, but it's an MR item. When it comes down to like MR compared to armor, like armor or AD damage is pretty hard to avoid. Typically magic damage, if you're playing well, you know, you can dodge a lot of it. You can dodge a lot of it, so MR damage is kind of whatever. Sterix. This is a great item, absolutely wonderful item for Fiora. She's got good base AD, so when she hits level to 18, this thing gives you like 65 AD, gives you tenacity, HP, a big shield, really good item. Stridebreaker is kind of not performing this year. Stridebreaker feels extremely underwhelming, and I want to put these two together. I want to talk about these two items together, Stridebreaker and Triforce. Both of these items have taken such a big step down from season 13. It's kind of crazy. So obviously Stridebreaker doesn't do damage. I did see that they're turning it into a Tiamat item, but you have Ravenous, you have Titanic. So if I was to look at Titanic, Titanic is also a great item. Titanic is a great item. Like, for example, you could go Eclipse in Titanic and it would still be good. Titanic just blows people up. It's kind of insane. It's got good AD, massive HP, and its active is just insane damage. So this is a great item, even for Fiora. Titanic and Ravenous, they've got a good fight between each other. I do think Ravenous has the upper hand, but you can build Titanic and it's still really good. So back to these two, Underwhelming, and it's kind of sad. It takes away the grass play style a little bit because of Triforce being weaker, so I'm not too sure how to feel about that. Stridebreaker turning into a Tiamat item, like when are you ever going to buy Stridebreaker over Ravenous or Titanic? Just like never, right? Maybe into range, but even then, it's just weird. And they're increasing the price of it to 3,300, and then Triforce is already 3,333 gold as well. This is going to be a little bit, maybe a hot take, but these are both just good items to me. These are not great items. They're really not. I think they're just good. I think they're all right, you know? I don't think they're that great. These are tank items. Don't care. This one is a niche one. This one, I do think you would rather just go Maul. I think Maul is just, you know, ultimately better. But I'm going to put this in niche because I did build it and I didn't feel that bad. I mean, it's not great. It's not a good item. It's like the same thing as like this experimental hexblade. A little bit of attack speed is nice, but you don't want too much. You don't want too much because you just don't really need it. Ghostblade, lethality item. Tiamat is great to have back. God tier. Tiamat, wonderful item to have back. You should have a Tiamat every single game. It is a must-have. God tier item. Steel Sigil is good. The full item completion is what you really want, so that's just good to me. Tunneler is good. I like that. Brutalizer is lethality. Don't care about that. Tier, I don't think, dude, I know people still buy tier. I think tier's bad. I just don't think tier's good. I'm putting it in the bad items. I really am. Coal, this is another good one. You can build coal. I think coal is chill. Like, if you think you're gonna be farming the whole time, like you can go these two items together. Doran's Blade and coal work really well together. If you ever see an opportunity to build these two together in the early game, super solid. Super solid. Doran Shield is still great. Sheen is honestly just like a good item to me because it just lost a lot of value with Triforce being weaker, and then you don't have Divine anymore, so it'll just go in the same slot right next to Triforce here. And then when it comes down to boots, obviously best boots are just going to be Merc Treads and Tabbies, and then some boots that you could build are CDR and Swifties, just because CDR boots are great if you're snowballing, and then Swifties have some value because it has a slow resist, so maybe against like Nasus or Cillian, something like that, just a little bit more move speed. But this is the Fiora tier list. I think that is the video there. That's perfect. These are what you're gonna build. Obviously, God tier must have. You gotta have Eclipse, you gotta have Ravenous, you gotta have one of the two every game that you play, and then mess around with these good items and the great items, and you should be good. Find the combination that works for you. All right, guys, and that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helps you guys out in your ranked climb and in season 14. So until next time, guys, peace out. Love you. Bye bye.